All right, so there's this album that was created 3 years ago called "Everywhere at the End of Time." The album consists of four separate albums that came out over a 3 year span, but they're meant to be listened back to back in chronological order. What it is there's this man. He goes by The Caretaker, and he wanted to create with audio what it's like to have dementia, and each of the projects has different stages ranging from 1 through 6, with stage 1 being like early dementia and 6 being like end game, late term, full-blown dementia. I don't know if I just said it, but the whole entire project is 6.5 hours long. But what I'm going to do and why I'm doing this is at the end of each stage, I'm going to just kind of briefly record myself and talk about my thoughts, what I heard, and things like that such. I've never heard any of it, of the 6.5 hours. Apparently the last 5 minutes they break you and you literally start bawling and crying, so I'm excited to see how I react. I'm pretty anxious because dementia's terrifying. But yeah, I don't know, so join me on this journey and see how I react to this album, I guess. Alright, see you guys later. What's going on, guys? Little update. I just finished stage 1 of the 6 stages. Overall, wasn't too crazy. It was music. More specifically, it was very 1920s-esque. It literally just sounded like you were listening to a 1920s album. The best way I could describe it, it kind of reminded me of ballroom music, so it kind of just felt like in my opinion, it kind of just felt like you were hanging out and there was just music in the background just to listen to. No vocals at all. There's a lot of piano, trumpet, violin, a lot of just different instrumentals. But besides that, no, it was just regular music. There was a reverb, there was skipping. It sounded almost like you were listening to a vinyl, which was interesting. But the thing is, the entire project is 100% electronic, so it's not vinyl. So anything that you hear is all put there for a reason, which is very interesting. But yeah, not too much to say. It just felt like 1920s music with a little bit of static. Besides that, I just want to read a couple of the song tracks for this stage 1. My apologies. I'm just gonna name a couple of them. But anyways, some of the song names is "It's Just a Burning Memory," "We Don't Have Many Days," "Childish Fresh Eyes," "All That Follows Is True," "Quiet Internal Rebellions," "Into Each Other's Eyes," "My Heart Will Stop in Joy," and that's a couple of them. There's a few other songs, but very song titles are not happy. So the music overall is very melancholic, which is something I should also mention. Another interesting thing is that each one of the stages, The Caretaker, who is the creator of the project, he gives a little exposition for each stage and what it's supposed to represent. So I'm just going to read for what stage 1 is. He says, "Here we experience the first signs of memory loss. The stage is most like a beautiful dream, the glory of old age and recollection, the last of the great days." So yeah, from that you can kind of see that, I don't know, it basically just recollection of old days. I think the reason why there's 1920s music is because it's supposed to be an older person recollecting on the past. So people that were listening to 1920s music, it's them now older looking back and trying to remember that music. But that's just my thoughts. Again, this entire thing I'm doing with recording is very just my thoughts, my initial reactions. This is not in depth at all, just kind of something I wanted to do. But yeah, so I'm gonna see you guys in the next project. Another thing, or next stage, my apologies. One thing I did want to mention is, while this is meant to be listened to in one go, I'm definitely not going to be able to do that just because I have things going on. But I will try to listen to it all within 24 hours, so it's still fresh in my mind, obviously. Another thing is, I will not be listening to this if I am talking to anybody or doing anything else. I want the full experience of just me listening to what is happening. So yeah, I just want to say that. But see you guys in the next stage. How's it going, guys? I just finished stage 2, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. there's not too much to say. Stage 2 is very similar to Stage 1 still. One of the main differences that I realized was that in Stage 1 I talked about how there was that scratchiness, or like that the sounds you get from vinyl that was present in Stage 1. While that was true, it was definitely secondary to the music. You could definitely hear the music more than that. Stage 2 is a little bit different, where that is definitely there, but it's more pronounced, and it's on the same level as the music. There are certain times where you hear that scratchiness or that skipping more than the actual music, so that was interesting. Another thing I noticed is that a lot of the songs in Stage 2 kind of just end abruptly, where it sounds like it could keep going, but it just goes straight on to the next song, so that was quite interesting. Another thing is, while I said the Stage 1 was melancholic, it felt sad. That still stays true to Stage 2, but Stage 2 feels a little bit more cheerful in the instrumentals, but at the same time it's more of like an eerie, like, it's unsettling. You don't feel right when you're listening to it, or at least I didn't personally. But besides that, again, it was pretty much similar to Stage 1, but there is definitely more. You can realize that the music's changing. So right now, since I don't know what happens in the other stages, I'm just left wondering. I'm like, I wonder where this is going to go, because I definitely know there's a change, but it's definitely not there yet. Besides that, I just want to go and talk about the bio that was given from the caretaker for Stage 2. So he says, the second stage is the self-realization and awareness that something is wrong, with a refusal to accept that. More effort is made to remember, so memories can be more long-form with a little more deterioration in quality. The overall personal mood is generally lower than the first stage, and at a point before confusion starts settling in. So that's interesting. I am getting that kind of confusion state, so that's interesting to see. I guess from here, I wonder if it's going to start changing drastically. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Besides that, I just want to read a couple of the title tracks for Stage 2. So it starts off with A Losing Battle is Raging. There's What Does It Matter How My Heart Breaks, Surrendering to Despair, Quiet Dusk Coming Early, Denial Unraveling, and it ends with The Way Ahead Feels Lonely. So again, it stays with that like sad, somber kind of theme to the title track. So yeah, I just wanted it to end there. So we're gonna go give Stage 3 a listen. See you guys then. Alrighty. So I just finished Stage 3. Stage 3 is definitely the most different stage so far, obviously, as you'd expect. It starts off actually quite normal. Like I explained in Stage 2 how there was a lot of like scratchiness and vinyl-esque sounds. The first couple songs for this stage don't really have that. It is almost just more music. It's not until about maybe a quarter of the way in until that comes back. And it's stronger than even it was in Stage 2. One thing that was very interesting is about 3/4 of the way through, you don't really hear music anymore. It's more of just noises. You still get those hints of the music in the background, but at sometimes you are like, am I still listening to the same thing? It's very interesting. Another thing I'd like to add is that at the end of Stage 3, it's only 2 hours and 9 minutes in of the 6.5 hours. So as you can tell, the later stages, there's less songs, but they're a lot longer. So that's interesting. The best way I could describe what I was hearing is if you are a big like horror movie or horror game fan, you know how when there's the eerie music, it's hard to explain. It sounds like it's far away, but you can hear it. This stage had a lot more echoiness to it instead of just like the scratchy vinyl sounds. Everything seems a little bit more like in an open space. So yeah, that echoiness is very prominent here. But yeah, I feel like Stage 4 is when it's going to definitely change. And just to put in perspective, Stage 3 had about 14-15 songs or so that are about 3-4 minutes in length each. Stage 4 only has 4 songs, but the stage itself is 1 hour and 10 minutes long, so that's interesting. So I'm going to read the bio from Stage 3. Here we are presented with some of the last coherent memories before confusion fully rolls in and the gray mists form and fade away. Finest moments have been remembered, the musical flow in places is more confused and tangled. As we progress, some singular memories become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. These are the last embers of awareness before we enter the post-awareness stages. So stages 1, 2, and 3 are when you are still aware and you know what is happening. Stage 4, 5, and 6 are the post-awareness, where your memories are gone. So what you're hearing is just not, you don't know what it is, honestly. It's just you're confused, is from what the bio says. Sorry, I was just reading it again. But no, honestly, from the bio, yeah, everything is just a mess. It is interesting because it talks about how you get these like little moments where you remember these things, and that's where you get that like 1920s music still there, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm aware, like that's what I know. But then it goes right back to that just nonsense where you're like, what am I listening to? So yeah, I'm excited to see where stage 4 takes me. See you guys then. I'm going to throw this part little in because I read the bio for stage 3, but I just want to read some of the track lists just so you can get a sense of where the Caretaker is going. So there's Back There Benjamin, And Heartbreaks, Hidden Sea Buried Deep, Sublime Beyond Loss, Long-Term Dusk Glimpses, Gradations of Arm's Length, Aching Cavern Without Lucidity, and the last song is Mournful Camaraderie. So yeah, that's not all of the songs, but that's some of the titles that stuck out to me. So yeah, see you guys in stage 4. All right, I'm just gonna start. Just finished stage 4. And it was definitely different than all the other stages. I'm gonna start actually this time with reading the bio given. Post-awareness stage 4 is where serenity and the ability to recall singular memories give way to the confusion and horror. It's the beginning of an eventual process where all memories begin to become more fluid through entanglements, repetition, and rupture. This stage is about 75-ish minutes, and there's only 4 songs. The first 2 songs are literally both called Post-Awareness Confusions. The third song is Temporary Bliss State, and then the final and 4th song of this stage is also Post-Awareness Confusions. I listened to this stage a little bit differently. The first 2 songs, so both Post-Awareness Confusions 1 and 2, I listened to regularly with my headphones on and just kind of sat and listened to it. And then I kind of changed it up for Temporary Bliss State and Post-Awareness Confusions for both of 3. Sorry, for Post-Awareness Confusions 3. For those songs, I don't know why I did this. I just kind of wanted to see how it would make me feel. I covered my vision completely, and just literally sat, like laid down in my bed and just listened. So I was in complete darkness, and all I had was the songs. That was very interesting. Anyways, we'll get back to that. Anyways, so this stage is, again, continuing on. It's unlike anything the previous 3 stages. At the beginning, they kind of throw in the instrumentals that you've been hearing the entire time, but minuscule. Like, you barely hear them at all. It's almost like glimpses, again, of you trying to remember what that sounded like. It's so hard to explain. It's very confusing, though, and you kind of just gotta go with it. But so when I covered my vision and started Temporary Bliss State, that song is completely different than any other thing I've heard so far. It sounds surreal, if that makes any sense. It almost sounded heavenly. It has like bells going from one ear to the other, and because my vision was gone for the first 5 minutes, I was fine. I was just like, whatever, it's dark. And then I got very anxious. I got very sweaty, even though I was just laying down. And again, this is me estimating because I don't know time-wise how it was because I couldn't see anything. But after about maybe 10-15 minutes, that angst kind of went away. I kind of accepted just what I was listening to, and I was like, this is happening, and I just got to go along with it. And so it was almost kind of calming in a sense. Like, even though there was those like creepy undertones, after a while I kind of got used to it. After a temporary bliss state finishes, though, it goes right back to post-awareness confusions, and that's again when it kind of gets more funky. Again, my vision was still covered, but I still kind of learned to accept what was happening, and again, I was more in a calm state than I have been at all while listening to any of this. I'm excited to see how 5 goes, 6. I'm at 3.5 hours of the 6.5, so both stage 5 and stage 6 are both about an hour and a half each. So that'll be interesting to see how that ends up going, but I don't know how to feel right now. I don't know, I guess we'll have to see how it goes with the next stages, but yeah. Alright, what's going on? Just finished stage 5. I'm going to try keeping this one a little bit short because there's not all that much to say. So the bio given for stage 5 is post-awareness stage 5 confusions and horror. More extreme entanglements, repetition, and rupture give way to more calmer moments. The unfamiliar may sound and feel familiar. Time is often spent only in the moment, leading to isolation. I do agree with that, definitely. With the unfamiliar may sound and feel familiar. At this point, I am 5 hours in, and everything I'm hearing is, I have no idea what it is, but it sounds almost normal now. Like, when I'm listening to it, it's kind of almost just like background noise where I almost don't hear it. It's kind of to the point where white noise kind of, if it's there for so long, you kind of you just forget about it and you just kind of go on with what you're doing. I'm just hanging out while I'm listening to this, and yeah, at this point it's just kind of there and I'm not even thinking that much about it, so that's weird. The name, there's only 4 songs in this 90-minute section. None of the names are that crazy, so I'm not gonna name any of them, but yeah, overall, I'm excited for stage 6. Apparently this is the stage where a lot of people break down and cry, so I'm excited to see where it goes, or to see how I react, at least. One thing I want to note is with the bios and stuff that I'm reading for each stage, I am not reading those before I listen to it, so I've been listening to the stages and then reading them myself. Same thing with the song names, so yeah. Yeah, alright guys, see you at 6. So I just sorry, I just finished stage 6. Damn, that was something. Stage 6 was definitely the saddest. You can't even describe what you're listening. It's nothing. It sounds like a cold wind blowing. It makes you feel like you're in space, and I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. So 6.5 hours. Would I recommend it? Definitely. I didn't start reading comments until stage 6, and I definitely recommend that you do that as well, because the stories people are sharing they're fucking heartbreaking, and it's terrible, but it's ridiculous. There is no description for stage 6. We're just told that post-awareness stage 6 is without description. The 4 tracks are a confusion so thick you forget forgetting, a brutal bliss beyond this empty defeat, long decline is over, and place in the world fades away. God, the last 5 minutes, they definitely come out of nowhere, and I teared up a lot. I don't know what to say. By the end of stage 6, you honestly forget what the beginning of the project is like, and it's just weird because he definitely did that for a reason. Just the repetition and just how long it is. You forget what the first 2 fucking stages are. Like, I don't know. It was fucking crazy. Sorry if this doesn't make any sense, but I definitely recommend you watch it. if you have any mental issues or you are currently just in a you're depressed, I wouldn't recommend you listen to it. But I definitely recommend everyone should at least once in their life. It's definitely life-changing. I'm definitely gonna look at my life differently going forward. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I can't believe it's over. I'm definitely gonna have to be thinking a lot, just about everything. But anyways, thanks for sticking by while you hear me rant about this freaking journey. Peace off.